All right.
No legs.
And oh my god. Oh no. Damn it. Well, we should be live on the internet. Welcome everyone to another episode of Titan's Table. Damn it, Rob. I hope that you are all doing well. God damn it. Oh man, oh Rob. You just had to mess me up. Welcome everyone to another episode of Titan's Table. I hope that you are all doing well. Tonight, we will be discussing females in Magic the Gathering and in esports. We will be talking about the Star City Games disqualification that had happened during Richmond, the whole disqualification situation. But before we get into that, I do want to welcome to Titan's Table King's Knight. He is a fellow content creator. If you wish, you can introduce yourself to everyone that is watching.
Hi, everyone.
Tell us all about yourself.
Yes.
All about me. Everything.
All about you.
All the dirty details.
Yes.
All the nitty gritty. Well, I'm a father of two, husband of obviously one, absolutely amazing wife. And
are you sure it's just one? Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Currently.
Just wanted to make sure.
I'm a technology specialist. Basically, I'm a certified technical expert for multiple different types of softwares, programs, as well as running technology departments, teams, things like that. I've been playing Magic the Gathering since '94, since its inception. I have collected and played throughout the years, left and come back. I'm a big collector of old classic card games as well. I used to have a huge collection of Star Wars and Star Trek, as well as like the WWE games, a lot of the WotC games.
Nice.
I helped with multiple different groups in my local area up in the northern sections of Michigan where I used to live. Aside from that, that's pretty much it. Other than being a Minecraft, absolute Minecraft freak.
Hell yeah.
Who owns his own servers, runs his own servers, and has been playing vanilla Minecraft as well as modded Minecraft for only a few years now. I got into the game and just have been in love with it ever since. Same kind of like Magic. It turned into my digital passion.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You forgot something important though, King. You also rent servers. That's important.
I do.
Yes, very important detail.
I do rent them out.
We like knowing that we actually have two Minecraft aficionados on the stream as we speak.
We do.
Yes.
Rob and King.
So, King, like myself, has been playing Magic since the dawn of time. Obviously, I started I started in '93, actually. So, like, I got you beat by a couple
from the very beginning.
Oh yes, I was playing Magic when it was little words written on pieces of paper glued to pieces of cardboard.
Nice. So you were part of was your store like part of the experimental phase?
No, my buddy actually had gone to Gen Con that year in the summer of '93, and they were doing demo tests of the game, and they allowed people who were store owners that could prove they were store owners, which he had paperwork for, which even though he wasn't a store owner, to playtest and bring playtest cards home with them.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So he got to bring playtest cards home with them, and then he started teaching us the game, and that was like 2 months before the game went live.
Yeah, because I know that when they first opened it up, it was like you could only get it at select. They had distribution issues.
Well, the thing was that their only distribution in the United States was Alliance Diamond.
Yeah, and Alliance was kind of the printing company was just kind of a pain too.
Well, Alliance Diamond only distributed to comic book stores, so no one else could really get it out the gate.
Back then, though, Alliance and Diamond were two different companies.
Well, you had Diamond Distribution. I call it Alliance Diamond, but it was Diamond Distribution.
Right.
Before their bankruptcy in like '99, I think, or '98.
Yeah, when they just became Alliance, right?
Well, now it's Diamond Alliance now.
Oh yeah. They're an interesting distribution company. When I worked with a couple stores, I dealt with them. I didn't mind dealing with them. They're just expensive.
How they treat their the comic book stores is awful. Their entire order system puts comic book stores out of business. Yep. You know, I dealt with them heavily on a weekly basis when I had my stores, and they were awful to deal with. Oh my god, They are one of the reasons why comic book stores fail. They are a
And most of
self-defeating
it's your
company.
distributors. It's your distributing companies that are actually making the stores fail.
Yep, that's the
They just don't know how
sad
to
part
run
of
a
it, right?
business.
That's
Yeah.
the sad part. It's like the way that they have the system set up.
You have to order X number of copies, or you can't get any copies whatsoever.
and
Yeah,
you
and all
don't
the
know,
other distributors pick that up too.
and you don't know. Here's the big one, right? You don't know what you're getting per week. So you get your monthly order forms, and it's like it's like 30,000 items, right? So you got to go through like literally 30,000 line items. So it takes you days and days, and they have the nice the nice pamphlets that they send, color books and everything like that, but it still takes you forever to go through it. And then you submit it, right? And then you don't know when you're actually going to get that stuff.
Yep.
So during Christmas, so you could have ordered all of these statues through the year, and they all get delayed, and you can do nothing about it. And then they suddenly just hit you with them in 1 week before Christmas, and suddenly you go from a weekly order of like $2,000 to you owe them suddenly $15,000 for that 1 week, and you have no control over it. You can't call them. Yeah, you can't call them and say, "I don't want all those statues."
Here's one for you.
You have to take the order too. You have
to take the order. Yeah, you have to take the order.
Graham, here's one for you. I miss interstate distribution.
Oh my God, that was before I had stores.
Yeah, it tells you how long I've been in the industry for.
Yeah, that was before I had stores.
Was that
I've been
late
working
90s, late 80s?
No, Interstate was through the end of the Valiant boom, and then they died.
So they made it to the early 2000s. I only know about them.
No, the Valiant boom ended in '98. They were gone by '98.
Are you sure about that? I thought
Yes.
it was like 2001.
Well, I mean,
but okay,
No, they were actually Interstate and Diamond were the two companies you could get Magic from, and my buddy was ordering from Interstate to get Magic. New England Comics was ordering from Diamond, and they basically were the first store in the area to have Magic before my buddy did, only because my buddy came back from Gen Con, taught the manager how to play the game, and he loved it and ordered it. He ordered 20 cases of Legends, and the owner of the company said, "What are you, on crack?" And he cut the order down to one box.
Wow.
Are you kidding me?
He screwed up. Holy crap.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Oh, the alpha and beta stuff? My buddy was like, "Look, I have cash. I will give it to you. You order it. As it sells, I'll take what I paid for it back out of it. We're going to make money on this." He was like, Nope. This is a sucker's bet. It's Pogs.
It's a sucker's bet.
It's not Pogs. Pogs. Oh my gosh, I remember. Pogs.
That tells
I
you
used to play those
the
and collect
owner
them.
of any seized mentality in this industry.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, for me and Rob, I can answer Tom.
Yep.
He said, I always prefer GTS. GTS are lying scumbags. And
yes.
There was one near, there was one in Massachusetts near where me and Rob are, and we both used it, but they're not here anymore. They're just down in New York. And
Do you remember who they were
lying
before they were GTS?
They were Sports Image.
Right, and in Sports Images was the horror. We're completely off track on this conversation.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And then he said, "Did anyone ever use Southern Hobby?" Southern Hobby was actually our go-to and still is.
Who was the first person in Massachusetts to sign Southern Hobby and bring him into the region?
You must have been among the first. I know.
I was the first. My Southern Hobby order number ended in 001.
Wow. Yeah, TJ Collectibles, Harrison's Comics, those were all among the first companies in this region to take Southern Hobby. But I think Southern Hobby overall is a solid company, Tom.
They are.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
overall.
I would definitely give their sales staff 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, they have some great people that work out of the New York office.
You know, I heard ACD. I was just talking with one of my local stores. I heard ACD's going out of business now.
Good.
What? So
Yeah,
I
they're not a
haven't
business.
checked them in a long time, and
Oh, their sales are suffering.
wow,
There was a
that's
time
crazy
when
that they're going out. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, there was a time in their heyday when they were actually relatively not that terrible, and they used to like their events. They used to bring people out to and stuff were actually pretty on point. I liked them whenever I got to meet up with them.
Well,
at,
they
like,
came
Gen
up in
Con and that.
1993. They were at the boom of they built their blood on Magic.
Yeah,
They did indeed. Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is now the whole thing about Minecraft. I've been playing Minecraft since like 1.6.
So that's what, like,
Yeah.
96, it's like 2006, something around that.
I've been playing it since, honestly, I can give you a better date. I've been playing it since 2011.
Ah, okay. I might be a little early with that date on Minecraft, I think. Minecraft is what was like 2010, right?
Yeah,
Is that correct for launch?
What
Sounds about right.
launch? Yeah.
that was that was the alpha, like the official launch.
Yeah.
But like before that, they had the beta and the alpha runs.
Right. Minecraft officially launched in 2011. So
Okay, so I was there.
2010 was
You
like
were the
alpha
beginning.
beta. Yeah.
As far as Magic goes, I started at Visions. I started in '97, and
Oh,
I was
Visions with
how I got
Golden
into it
Age.
is I was playing a lot of StarCraft competitively, actually, out at UMass Amherst, where I went for my first undergrad, and this card game appeared, and they were running money tournaments for it at the school. You know, UMass Amherst
Money.
is a
Well,
gigantic school, and I got into it right then and there, and I started buying packs, and that's
what
how I
got a
got
lot
started.
of people angry, is because that colleges and stuff were getting the product, and they were running events, like you
Yep.
could run cash events, cash money events, and people loved it.
Yeah, I tell you that it's true because I was there. You know, back in '97, that's what was going on. Like Wizards was just dumping stuff on these huge universities like UMass, and
Just giving it
we
to 'em.
yeah we got the prize support was higher than it is now. Like it was higher.
You're
Giving
talking about
boxes away.
Boston. That was all crap. I'm blanking on the name. That was Rob Doherty's store that was running all the Magic in New England. He was the biggest guy around.
Yeah. Michigan was and still is, but I don't think they even run a store anymore. But I forgot what the name of the company is. They just do event planning. They just do events, and they're one of WotC's top 3 event teams.
Well, WotC's gotten rid of most of those teams. They're basically just down to Channel Fireball. That's it. For the
Right.
most part, right? That's about what they have. There was some because a lot of the original pros actually came out of New England, out of the Boston area. So many pros came out of this area. Some of the first tournament stores are from this area, and some of the original PTOs that are still around, by the way, running big tournaments in the state, but like basically got booted from Wizards, even though they were doing a pretty good job. Wizards just didn't want to have all of these different teams kicking around, so they all kind of got booted. They lost their contracts, so it's kind of sad. But a couple of them are still doing well.
Yeah, like
one of them, by the way,
yeah,
just want to say one of them went on to start White Wizards Game.
Your Move Games. That's what I was talking about. Your Move Games. Rob Doherty.
Rob Doherty. He makes the game. What are his games, Vara?
Star Realms.
Yeah.
Hero
Realms.
You got Hero Realms. He's got like a couple. I highly suggest if
they're really good. White Wizards card games are awesome.
Realms, Star Realms. It is phenomenal. I will say this 1,000 times. I own 3 complete sets of everything I've put out for my Master Cube.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, it is phenomenal. It's a deck builder game, except it doesn't have the drawbacks of all the other deck builder games. Instead of it being like the most number of points at the end of the game wins, everybody starts at a specific amount of honor, aka left points, which is 50, and it can be played 1v1 or multiplayer. And the point is to shoot people out of your system by destroying their honor and vanquishing them.
Right.
So it's kind of like a hybrid between Magic life totals and every other deck builder you've ever played. So it is possible, like if you play DC Universes, their deck builder game, it is very easy to know who's going to win the game by about turn 7 or turn 8 because they just get a runaway deck.
Right.
You don't get
and his Magic clone is epic. We forgot about Epic. His Magic clone.
Yes.
And they're out of Framingham, Mass, and he was one of Wizards' first professional tournament organizers, and he's in the Magic Hall of Fame.
Yep. So, a little fun fact about Rob Doherty is he actually had the biggest Magic collection, but he sold it off over time. He was one of the early alpha beta players like the rest of us, and his store Your Move Games was the best place to go around, but over time he started selling it off, and eventually he sold Your Move Games to Pandemonium.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
You mean Pandemonium Games in Detroit, in Michigan?
No,
No.
Pandemonium
No,
In
there's
Boston. They're in
which is
Cambridge.
Oh, okay.
Pandemonium Games, which is Pandemonium's Books and More, has been around as a college sellback point since like 1986, where you
Right.
could go back, buy and sell used books and used fanfic stuff. And
Oh,
they're actually one of they technically own the name Pandemonium Games. Anybody else using it is infringing on their IP.
oh wow, yeah, because there's a Pandemonium Games in
Pandemonium's
in
They-
common
Michigan.
thing.
They
Yeah.
are essentially the largest in Metro Boston. They're actually in Cambridge, but Cambridge, Boston, whatever.
Right.
They are the biggest store in Metro Boston. They are
Right.
the
Wow.
biggest.
They no matter what or who you or what you say, if you're inside the 128 belt, you are part of Boston.
Yeah.
Pretty
There's
much.
Greater Boston, there's Metro Boston, and then there's the larger portion of Boston, which is the 495 belt. But
It's all
But that's why
Boston.
I say Metro, because there's some
Right.
other big stores.
but
not far
Cambridge
from
is
Boston.
one of the original hoods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're not far from Harvard and MIT, so
Yeah,
they're near-
a history lesson for all the people around the world watching us right now who don't care.
yeah, one
Yeah.
of the Pandemonium Games in Michigan is one of the largest. They're one of the largest stores in Michigan.
Are they?
Yeah, they're one of the bigger ones. They also are one of the ones that runs the most PTQs and
Right.
PPPQs.
so they're
as well.
so they're a WPN premium store.
They're the only
which-
premium store in Michigan
yeah.
right now.
I believe it, because how many
Oh, well.
premium? There's only 3 premium stores in New England. Is that
Well,
correct,
put it
Rob?
this way, there's
Well,
about
there's
to be
there's
another
gonna-
one.
There's going to be 2 more, hopefully, within this next year. One of them being Game On's. There's a store in Saginaw, Michigan called Game On. The owner there, he is trying to get them to be full-on high-level premium for that store, and he's really close to it. He's just got just a couple more things. WotC, as I understand, has so many hoops that you have to jump
Yeah.
through. It's
Yeah.
insane.
I was about to tell you, they set the bar so high on that unless you're a
Crazy.
franchise or a giant store, you're never going to make it. One of the biggest no-nos is your free market data for them. They want you to submit every POS timestamp receipt you have for Magic the Gathering monthly.
Right.
You have to be able to provide that information. They want to know how much you're selling at what date from the POS. They also want to
They
know
want
every
everything.
amount you sell online.
It's crazy.
Well, they've gone so far as to tell you they're even telling them like how many inches apart each of the hanging racks for their deck box sales areas have to be apart. They have to be like 5 inches apart, and you have to have so many of them per rack, and you have to have
That's
so many
crazy.
per racks per wall, and you have to take high resolution 4K pictures for everything to send to them so that they can put it in their system and read it all. So like you have to go buy a special camera to take pictures of every single wall. One of the game walls for all the games, they had to reorganize all of it because it wasn't up to their standards.
Ooh.
Their single spot for their commons and uncommons behind the counter, they told them they had to get a whole brand new rack system. They had just reorganized everything.
Damn.
And
Well,
they
the worst
just
part
redid
about
they
it
told
is
them they had to redo it.
wait until he finds out the POS requirements is a system that requires $25,000 to track the amount of information they want.
Oh yeah, he
And there's a
got it.
rental fee on that. Not only do you have to buy the POS system, but you have to maintain it at X amount of money per month. It's like a supermarket style POS system.
Jeez.
So all
Yeah,
in all,
he
I
just got it. It's
Oh.
insane.
got it. So all in all, I just want to point out, as store owners or previous store owners, this whole premium system is a shot
Awful.
at the LGS system in general. And we always talk about that almost every episode.
Well,
You know,
yeah.
how WotC doesn't
definitely.
care about.
I'll be right back,
LGS.
guys. It's got to
No
fill
worries.
a humidifier real quick.
No
Yeah.
worries.
You
Oh,
know,
is that what you call going to the bathroom?
well, I think what we should do now is, before we get into the main topic, let's talk about the ban list announcements from Monday.
Why don't we hold up until he gets back? He'll probably want to be a part of this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the ban
absolutely.
lists. Oh yeah.
But
Are you
the
talking
ban
about
lists.
this upcoming Monday or the one that just passed?
The one that just passed.
Oh,
the
God,
ban list
Wotty.
announcement on Monday.
What a great announcement.
It was an awesome
Spectacular.
announcement.
Spectacular.
So they're not doing announcements. They're not doing ban lists every
I
Monday
know,
or
they-
every other Monday. They made
Yeah.
an announcement saying that they were going to make announcements about when they're going to make the announcements for the ban lists. That's what
God.
the announcement was.
Oh, jeez. I don't know what they're thinking. I
It
don't.
literally just said, in the future, we will be making an announcement telling you when the announcements for the ban
I
lists
can't
are.
take Wizards of the Coast seriously anymore. I just can't take them seriously anymore. Honestly.
I have a question, Rob. I want to
Yep.
know how you feel about this. Do you think that
Shitty.
the current
Oh.
system of ban lists, where they're doing it like every Monday or every other Monday, or now doing an announcement for when they're going to do the announcement, is better, or do you think it was better when they just had the quarterly, say the quarterly ban lists, and
The
you
best
knew
ban list
when,
system they ever had was when a new set came out and they realized they needed to do something. The quarterly ban lists, or even I would even go so far as to say if they were to do a once bi-monthly, but this bi-weekly, weekly, every other week, when they feel it needs to get banned, it's literally we're in a constant state of emergency. We're constantly in a state of elevated push the button. When do I sell my deck off before they ban it? And
Right.
it's not healthy for the game.
Yeah.
I knew you
Right.
were going to say that. I just wanted to hear it for myself because that's how I
I can
feel.
tell you from my player base. I had one guy come in here trying to tell me how Pioneer was the best format, and I was like, dude, yeah, with all these mega bannings, oh, they stopped doing that, blah blah blah. And I'm like, don't show for Wizards to me. You're not gonna make it fly with me. You're in a constant state of panic. Why are you trying to sell me these walking ballistas? Because you think they're going to get banned in the format.
Right. You're worried.
He was like, no, they're not doing bannings weekly anymore. I'm like, no, they're doing bannings when they feel like it.
Yeah, the first 6 weeks were bannings every week because they had to get to a certain point that they wanted the game to be at, that they wanted the
And that's dumb.
format to be at.
They should have not done any bannings for the first 2 months.
I
To
agree.
3 months. Let the format
Yeah.
stabilize itself, see where it lands,
Yeah.
and tell people expect bannings and a large number of them on this date. And honestly, I'm a proponent for a restricted list. I
Yeah.
think they need to bring back the days of restricted lists and constructed. If they
Right.
want to do restricted to 2 or restricted to 1, like I could see a restricted to 1 scenario and
Yeah.
every single one of these cards.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the cards that they got rid of just. Why can't you just put them to 1?
Yeah.
What's the real problem with that?
Because then it's legacy and it's like and they
Right.
don't want to
Vintage.
I mean,
That'd be
vintage.
vintage.
Right.
And they don't want to restrict outside of those formats because people don't like it and it's too hard for
But-
the judges to
But
do
people
deck check.
would rather that. But people would rather them, at least I think, from the reception I've seen about Pioneer and everything on, social media and from what I've heard from players, I think most people would much rather them just restrict something and put it to 1 copy rather than outright ban it, because you can still play the deck, but you have to be very concise with what you're doing, or else you use your resources uselessly. So it makes you think more. There in turn, it makes the game the game that you're in more competitive because you have to truly think about what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing. Your judge they're saying that the judges are too stupid to understand what a restricted list is on deck checks and it would take too long to do deck
Right.
checks. Did you know that they stopped doing deck
And I'm
checks
back.
outside of counting cards? So they
Welcome
only
back.
do deck checks when there's a complaint against the deck now in the judge program?
Yeah.
Really?
Or furthermore than that, yeah, so there's actually been an increase in cheating on decks because of it. Like the guy who won, I forget, it was one of the GPs with 6 copies of Archdruid in his deck.
Yes, because they don't do deck checks up until the final round now.
Right.
Well, even worse than that is that the deck checks that they do when they do the spot checks are just counting to make sure there's 60 cards and 15 on the sideboard. And
Yeah.
they
They don't even
only
compare them to the board lists.
the only thing they will check is the sideboard list from time to time, but more often than not, only if you have a suspicion. What's they need to make the simplest point is institute a restricted list, change the way the deck lists look, have a list on the right that says restricted cards, and the players are responsible to fill it out correctly like they already are. Then they take all of their cards that are restricted, fill those out first. After they've done that, go through and fill everything else with the rest of their deck lists. Congratulations. Now when they do a deck check, they can go through and say, is there cards on the list that aren't supposed to be here? And if they screw up and put a card that isn't restricted on their restricted list, you don't penalize them. You only penalize them when they don't put a card on the restricted that they're running too many copies of. You give Pioneer a restricted list, you strip everything else out, and you solve every problem you have, and actually you probably make a more fun format.
Yeah, I think I think them utilizing a restricted list for competitive play for Modern and Pioneer, I think it would have been. I think it would have been smart. Even for Pauper, I think it's smart, to be honest, because it still tells people you can still invest in and buy that.
Yeah.
It's still
Gush,
a
one
good
copy
thing.
of Gush and Pauper
Yep.
would not be busted.
No, it's not, and it gets people who wanted to play with those cards to play now. It gets them in. It gets them
Yeah,
through the door. It makes them want to play.
even one copy of Free Drake,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Peregrine.
Yeah,
I
Paper
think
Drake.
I agree with, but I agree. That's all I was gonna say. I agree.
And,
That-
and they don't want to do it because they're lazy.
Right.
And laziness is breeding horrible repercussions within the game.
So I think we can all agree, though, that the
Yeah.
announcement they made on Monday is
The
a terrible
announcement for announcements.
An
Wait,
announcement
what is
saying-
up with that announcement? By the way, I'm just looking at it, going. Even
They-
listening to Death Leader's video, I'm like, what? What?
Oh,
Right.
did he put up a video about it?
He
But,
went out all out on it as well. He just kind of ripped into it.
Did he?
Like,
Well,
seriously?
so me
Like-
and Vara had talked about it the other day, and we were laughing when we saw it because
Eh.
it basically it says, "Hey everyone, here's an announcement telling you that we're going to be making announcements for when the announcents."
Yeah,
for the
here's an
family.
announcement for the future announcements that will be announcements for the next.
Hi. Yeah.
Seriously? Like,
It's silly.
Hi.
Me and Rob were talking about how we feel the old style of doing the ban lists at like rotation, maybe even quarterly, stuff like that, was another thing that it was a lot better than the system they
Even
have now.
bi-monthly would be a lot better because the constant state of panicking. Think about it from this perspective. As a player in a format, you're going to want to make sure you have all the cards you need to play the decks you want to play.
Right.
But as a poor collector, you could only afford to build one deck. You can't afford to have 4 of every card. Pioneer feels like they're trying to make it so that there's 4 of every card. You have to own 4 of every card, so then you don't have to worry about bannings. And it feels dirty.
this is
Yeah.
where I've always been a big fan of pushing singleton gameplay. I kind of try to push it in my local any of the LGSs I go to. Like I always try to invite people to do some singleton.
Yeah.
Dude, pull out a commander deck, doesn't matter. I like
Commander
playing
Brawl.
singleton because people
Command zone
really
games.
enjoy that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man's own
Yeah.
game.
King, that's actually
Love it.
something I was suggesting. When Standard fell apart and died, and they made this Brawl format, I was like, no, this is dumb. Just make Singleton Standard.
Yeah, that's all they needed to do. They could have
Right.
said, okay, just like what they do, like they could have done it. Yeah, like you said, Singleton Standard, and they could have thrown that. They've done Singleton Standard on Arena, and it's one of their most popular games they've had play. It's the most paid for.
It's easy to play. It's easy to set up decks. It works. I agree.
Yeah, because I know I have at least one of every card from all the current sets. I know I have one of every rare and a mythic.
Right.
I mean, myself, no, I'm limited out on everything in the Ravnica block. All of it's done. So whenever I get that, I always get diamond. I always end up getting gems.
Like them starting the Pioneer format with all the fetch lands was a horrible mistake on the ban list.
I like the fact that they threw those on the ban list.
No.
I didn't disagree with that one bit because I think they looked at it as if we put those, if we don't put them on the banned list, and we say that those are also going to be Pioneer legal, we're going to hear a lot of people yell and scream about the fact that these things now went from $100 for a Scalding Tarn to $220 for a Scalding
Print them
Tarn.
in Standard.
Yeah, that's what they should have done. They should have done.
Probably-
And put it this way, Scalding
then
Tarn
restricted
in Pioneer. It wouldn't be because only the cons fetch lands were in, and they were already relatively cheap. Those ones would have spiked. But you know what? Quidgy Bidgin. That's what I gotta say to people. Quidgy Bidgin. Quit
Nice.
bitching about. No, hear me out. Quit bitching about card prices. It's a collectible card game. Prices are always going to go up and down based on demand. Banning stuff because you don't want expensive cards in a format is tantamount to saying, wagging your finger at somebody and saying you're not allowed in here because you're too wealthy for us. It's a stupid socialist way of doing things, and I don't want socialism in my country, and I don't want socialism in my game.
No, I'm with you there. I understand why they kind of did it. I didn't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, basically all that is taking the glove and slapping all the players who've been playing since the original Return to Ravnica, that basically pulling the glove off and slapping all of them in the face who've been
Right.
collecting for years, and they have those, and they don't really want to get into modern because getting in modern means that now we started playing back at I started playing at the end of Innistrad block, and then Ravnica came in and it was really fun to play. But I don't want to play modern because modern I got to go back all the way back to 8th edition, and some of those cards are really, really, really expensive. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're obviously they're really expensive. They're really effing good.
Right.
So
They're too good.
I kind of I agree and disagree. Where I agree is I'm not expecting or asking for socialism to be part of the game. I'm not asking Wizards to give away cards, but at the same
It'd be
time,
nice if they did.
that would be awesome. I'll take them. Send out cards, Wizards. We want cards.
But
But at the same
where I'd have a
time,
problem with is if every booster pack I open, 1/5 of them randomly gets donated to a store. They have to be manually.
they
I
have
would
to
get
be
pissed.
donated to a store. I'm just saying that the accessibility needs to be there. So formats die when they're not accessible. Look what's just happening. Look what Legacy, which was the format I played most of my career playing Magic, is dead. It's basically dead, and it's because the formats become completely inaccessible. And we can sit and argue, well, the cards are expensive because they're old. And yes, I don't want to get rid of the reserve list. I don't want my underground seas to be $100. I want them to be $500. But at the same time, I'm kicking myself every time I think that to myself because now I have no one to play in Legacy.
Uh-oh.
You know what I mean? So, but
Can you guys hear me?
yes, we can hear you. You're here. Yep, you're here.
Oh, now
So that's
it's
all.
muted.
That's all. So I understand both arguments. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm.
You know, I got called crazy in chat.
Yeah, you did.
They only knew.
All right.
So
Yeah.
why don't we move into the elephant in the room, which is our main topic.
What?
It is getting
Oh, wait.
7:30.
SCG Richmond and the
SCG
disqualification that happened. I just
So
want to.
how do we-
want to say in chat. I just want to say really quick in stream. Oh, never mind. King's Knight's not muted anymore. Okay, never mind. Statement retracted. I was going to tell him that he was muted. He's having a problem, which is fine. You're fine. Yeah,
So why don't we? How do we start? Who wants to?
Okay,
I-
so
I-
I'm going to
what
read.
happened
All right, so
accidentally,
I am going to read the post. I think
Let
that's a.
Tara start us off, and then we'll commentary
I
on it
think that
with
this is
snickers and
a good
smirks.
way to start it. So at Star City Games Richmond, it was last weekend. There was a disqualification that happened, and I think that the easiest way to kind of talk about the situation is maybe reading the post. Do you guys agree? Grim?
Sure, go ahead.
All right.
I think
So-
that's actually great. I think a good place would be to read the post about the DQ,
Yes.
maybe go through the statement from the player, and the toxic femininity after
Well,
the fact.
that's what I'm going to do. All right, so I'm going to. Okay, so over the weekend, there was a disqualification that happened between a male player and a female player. I am going to read the female player's kind of wrap up and explanation of the situation because I do think that she has some pretty interesting wording in it that I think that we want to talk about. So she starts it off. It's pretty long, so. She says, I really want to put this experience behind me and use the energy I have left on testing for the upcoming GP I will be playing. I'm very tired and very depressed right now, but I think explaining everything that has happened this weekend might be a good thing. So here is my description of the events. On Sunday, I entered the Standard Classic. After the events of the previous day, I go into each match a little afraid of my opponents. For a little bit of context, she did say that she did have some problems earlier in the day with people bothering her because she's a female. Yeah. I'm constantly leery of being talked down to, cheated against, or just disrespected in some other ways because I'm a female. I have to thicken my skin and just play Magic as best as I can. More than anything, though, I just want people to be nice to me. So badly. In the final round of the Classic, my opponent and I agreed to high roll to decide who goes first. He shakes the dice, puts his hand a few inches above the table, and tilts his palm so the dice fall out. It lands on a 6 and a 3. I feel a bit weird that my opponent tilted the dice in the way that he did, especially considering one of the dice landed on a 6. I am used to letting things like this go or being too intimidated to tell my opponent why they did something I did not like. But I'm braver this time, and I tell my opponent I would prefer a re-roll and explain the reasoning. Tilting it out of your hand means that you could potentially manipulate the dice to land in a certain way. He asks me, do you really think I'm trying to do that? And truth be told, I don't think that he is. I doubt there's anything fishy going on, but I am sure they are a well-intentioned person and they just rolled the dice a little too close to the table on pure accident. But I'm done giving the benefit of the doubt. Unfortunately, the countless other opponents I've had who have tried to do something like manipulate dice, or take advantage of me and my tendency to give the benefit of the doubt have ruined it for anyone else who is likely innocent. I am done giving anyone the opportunity to take advantage of me, intentional or not, and I do something that I would never have done one day prior. I call a judge. The floor judge comes over to me and I explained what happened. Just re-roll, the judge says. Someone near my opponent mutters something about appealing in my opponent. With more confidence than ever that I've had at a Magic event, I say I want to appeal. The judge walks away and I feel myself shrinking into my chair. On either side of me there are players jeering about what happened. That's got to be the wildest thing I've heard all day, one says. She continues on to say that she felt very overwhelmed. She felt like the world was against her and the world was targeting her. So she is standing at the table, and from what we know, she does start to cry. She starts to, what it sounds like, she starts to get upset. And then she says to the judge, I'm sorry, but I'm just done. I've had horrible opponents this weekend. I'm just done. So she ends up quitting. She ends up forfeiting the match. Now that's all that, she really says. She goes into the fact that she does say that yes, the player was disqualified after this, and it does sound like it is due to the judge being a little bit hasty. But she ends it off with she ends it off with, I believe because I am a woman, people are more likely to attempt to take advantage of me because of their personal bias against women at Magic events. Or internalized sexism is another way to put it. Having this in mind, I will often expect people to attempt to take advantage of me or treat me like I don't know how my cards work, which has caused me to become more rigid at Magic events over time. One of the saddest parts about this is that I will often have opponents who are well-intentioned or genuinely kind, but I have to always be skeptical of people's intentions versus me. This is because even though not every person is being sexist, women are so used to sexism by others that they are not afforded the privilege of believing a person is well-intentioned every time. I've had so many opponents try to treat me like I'm new or unintelligent. Why should I assume my next opponent won't do the same?
And don't forget to add that what happened to her the day before during the team. So someone did. We just want to.
So the day before,
did cheat against her.
Okay, no. Okay, so the day before, what had happened was, so I don't think it's confirmed that they cheated against her.
It's true. It's not confirmed.
So there are rumors and going around that the day before someone had during a match cheated against her,
in a land drop.
In a land drop, but no one got disqualified and there's been no other announcements. So, if they had cheated, they most likely would have gotten disqualified during the event.
Yes.
So
it was during the event.
Yes, it was during the event.
So in other words, she didn't call judge.
I don't know if they could prove it, and she ended up crying over it. I think she ended up actually crying at that point too.
Do you know?
And the week before, a couple weeks before that, someone else posted on Twitter saying that they had played her in an event a few weeks before this, where she lost the event, fair and square, no calling judges, nothing like that, nothing went wrong, but she started bawling her eyes out after she lost the event, and after she lost the match, and she posted on Twitter saying that, oh well, that's what I do when I get frustrated.
Right. I do want to point out that, this is nothing against her or anything, but she has shown at large tournaments the fact that she I'm just going to be honest, it sounds like many events she does have an outburst, and her outbursts are crying, which everyone, has their emotional tendencies. Whatever they do, if you get frustrated, you might get angry, you might get sad, whatever it may be. But it does sound like during events where she's not high up on a bracket, she does have a tendency to cry and to have an emotional outburst.
So in other words, she can't handle her emotions, and
She can't
goes
handle
on
her
terrible
emotions.
easily.
I've dealt with this plenty of times. I actually had a young lady that used to come in my store.
Yeah.
Who would create these commander situations where her board state was getting out of control and she had like 6 different combo pieces in play. And as soon as everybody at the table noticed what was happening, they'd start ganging up like you do in Commander.
Right,
Yeah,
that's
And then
Commander.
and then would take emotional outbursts. Oh, they're all targeting me because I'm a girl. And it's the entitled millennial attitude of, I deserve to win. What is this going to be now? Like, and then you go over, you talk with the person, you calm them down, you walk over, look at the board state, and I'm like, I'm looking at your board right now. You're crying, everybody's getting up on. Are you aware of your board state right now?
Right.
Like, I lost all sympathy for the person, and this is just another one of those scenarios where if you're going to cry every time you lose, then it means you've been in scenarios where you've been encouraged to do this situation.
Right.
And people are going to say, you're victim blaming. No, there's no victim here. This is not a victim scenario.
Right. And I do agree with someone in chat that said, let's be fair, it's not just exclusive to girls, that's people losing their shit. People do lose their shit. Men and women, sometimes have different ways of showing their emotions, and definitely there are plenty of, men that go to events and freak out because they lose. Let's just point that out. This isn't a woman thing. There are plenty of people.
Let's also talk about cheating in general at Magic.
Yes.
So let's say that someone did cheat again. So let's say that land drop cheat did happen.
Yes.
That person probably wasn't cheating because she was a girl. That person was cheating because they're an asshole. Okay? People cheat at Magic at these events, at professional level, at these competitive level events. Yes. Cheating is freaking rampant. It's rampant. Yep. Hell, it could be happening in almost every match.
And cheating doesn't happen against you just because you're a female. Cheating happens against anyone.
Cheating is rampant. It's happening to men. It's happening to women. It's happening it's happening to people who have whatever pronoun they want to use. I'm just saying.
Why? Do you know why the cheating's happening? Because the penalties are a freaking joke.
Yeah.
If you get caught cheating in Magic, you get a suspension. You get caught again, we'll suspend you again. You get caught again, we'll suspend you again. You get caught again, we'll suspend you again. You say a naughty word to somebody online and they ban you for life.
Mm-hmm.
So if you misgender somebody online, you're going to get banned from life.
Especially if you're Canadian, don't do it in Canada. You're toast. So Cinder, if you're out there, be careful. Cinder, if you're out there, be careful. I was just saying
is by intent, that you have to prove intent.
King, I was just saying how I feel about the whole cheating aspect, that her saying that she's cheated against. And we're just talking about how cheating is so rampant in the game that everyone gets cheated against, especially at these big events. So
you're not special.
Yeah, she's being cheated against because she's playing Magic at a Star City. That's why she's being cheated against.
Then why do I wear the helmet? Derailed.
I'll be honest, this is kind of one of those things where I look at it and go, okay, you have a history of knowing that if you're not going to get your way, you're just going to cry. So...
I would look at now, Vara. I hate to say this. Pull up what's his face's statement and read his statement.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his statement.
Her statement seems like a professional written press release. His statement seems like
his was pretty similar. His was very similar.
Oh, yeah. Go look at
she's been on Twitter now. She's gone. So no matter. So
yes, I do want to say something. Okay, because her statement's great and all, but the things that she had locked her Twitter for 3 days. Now, now listen.
People attacking her.
Because not only people attacking her, because someone said. I saw this. I don't have a screenshot, unfortunately, so I guess don't quote me unless you just believe me. Someone had said the situation and was like, no wonder people are angry at you. You got someone disqualified for rolling the dice. And she said, shut the fuck up, you pile of slime. That's not professional. You don't do that to someone. I don't have a screenshot of it.
They could throw a fit on
But
Twitter
of course,
about it.
right, she locked her Twitter after because she was deleting posts like that, and conveniently it's not there. But she had made a response saying, shut the fuck up, you pile of slime.
Her,
And
her Twitter's already been archived.
yes,
Oh yeah,
that's
she,
true.
I don't think she realizes
back
that
up,
with,
though. Her Twitter's
with the
open again.
autists of the internet, they're gonna make sure that every
As
single
soon
bit
as
of it.
Okay.
as soon as this went live, her Twitter was archived.
Look, she's doing a couple things here. I'll just say quick, and then Vara, if you have some other
I
stuff
do
on
have
that.
his statement. I do have his statement. So.
She's running around now, and no matter how much compassion you felt she might have had in her statement since then, she's running around. She's perpetuating every negative stereotype that there is about female gamers. She's entitled. She's virtue signaling like crazy, running around spewing feminist propaganda.
I'd like to chime in slightly before you read the statement, okay?
Yes.
My daughter gets upset when she loses and just walks away, and sometimes she'll get like upset, but for the most part she chills out. She doesn't do the sore winner thing either, right?
Right.
I have a woman that comes in my store who is from California, who likes to color their hair, who plays the game and doesn't act like any of this. They're just like, win or lose, it's just have a good time.
Right.
It all comes down to the chamber you hang out in and how big is the echo. Are you deaf to other people's feelings?
Yeah.
I mean, she was calling out people on Twitter that she thought were ignoring her. What was some of her Twitter remarks were like, "Hey, all you pro gamers, thanks for not backing me up."
I will read that, yeah, because that is a statement that I do feel kind of strongly about.
19 hours ago, she's like, a week ago is the closest I've ever come to quitting Magic.
Yeah.
And now I just want to step up my game and qualify for. Well, apparently, I think
let's
regionals.
All right, so how about I read her his statement? Let me read his statement compared to the female statement that I had read. His says,
go ahead.
SCG Richmond reflection. To say I was caught in the wrong place at the wrong time in the 6th round of the SCG Standard Classic at Richmond would be one way to put it. But to say that I received unfair treatment is probably a more agreeable by many, even my opponent, and that I was sitting across from when this egregious ruling occurred. I was very caught off guard and flabbergasted when my opponent conceded before time even began in the 6th round. Okay, so we both greeted each other warmly, and I, in fact, got to make a joke about how both of our names on our shirts started with a T. It was a very good introduction in my mind, and I was happy to have met a new competitor to enjoy the game with. When we both began to set up, I asked this person if they wanted to do a high roll in order to secure who would go first in the match. They agreed a high roll was sufficient. I grabbed 2 d6s out of my dice container excitedly and to effect, hurriedly, and shook them onto the table in front of us. 6 and a 3, a pretty good roll, but not unbeatable. My opponent turned her head at me and said she would appreciate it if I rolled again. I have never encountered this situation, so I figured the fair thing to do is simply to call a judge. The floor judge suggested that I roll again, seeming idly just to be agreeable. So I appeal that. I am on aggro here, and I had the best luck to roll a 9. I find it highly unfair that due to the discomfort of my opponent, I lose my high roll. But when the head judge comes over, there is actually no talk of my roll. There is no talk about anything regarding the game, or if an opponent or judge can even ask you to re-roll. I understand my opponent had become emotionally distressed, but I was just not fully understanding what had happened. I really wanted to play the match at length because I truly do enjoy the competitive nature of the matchup I was about to face. But shortly after my opponent walked away, I was informed that they forfeited and that the head judge needed to talk to me some more off to the side. lied. The judge sat me down and began to drill me about multiple personal things. The judge made sure to get as much information from me as possible and show him how I roll, as well as a few more questions about my opponent and my personal background. I was absolutely outraged that I was disqualified for attempting to gain an advantage by rolling dice, and then he does name the judge. So that is the situation that happened. That's what he was officially disqualified for, but it sounds like the judges really swayed in the to the side of the female just because she was emotionally distressed.
So,
Rob, could you tell us about that ruling?
Yes, tell us about the ruling.
two
What
things.
does that
First,
ruling mean?
so right before we get to that ruling, right?
Yes.
Which is a BS ruling. So there is a rule about trying to gain advantage that's actually considered to be cheating.
Yes.
Anytime you would do something to gain advantage
Yes.
is considered to be cheating. Gaining advantage through a dice roll is a bullshit ruling because you haven't done anything to cheat except roll the dice. Now, the judge would have had to have said in his official statement that the player was trying to get advantage by the way the manner in which they rolled the dice, which was never stated. Okay?
Yeah.
Because it's a DQ and it's probably an appeal right now, the judges are never going to talk about it.
Oh yeah.
And when
No.
it's over and done with, they'll talk in their inner circles, but they will never pass it on further up down the line.
This will be used as a teaching edge. It might be used as a learning experience for other judges that are like L1s
Not with
or
this-
going into it.
Not in this current climate of judges.
Yeah,
No.
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 Yeah,
no, they-
not in
that-
this current climate.
Well, in the client that when I used to be the climate when I was a judge, it would have been used in the circle that I was running with. However, that was right around when wokeness started moving into our circle area in the Midwest and
Fair judges.
2015, right?
huh?
2015, right?
Yeah, actually 20.
Yeah, I could tell you exactly the three.
2014.
I could tell you exactly the three level 3 judges that actually brought it in on full cancer mode. And I'm not going to name people or names or regions, but I could tell you exactly who they were, and I could tell you when the letter was written that the judge program doesn't need any more white males.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
before that even actually. No,
I know
it was
this. I'm telling you. I could tell you exactly the
Yeah.
stages and when each
that
one.
letter. I remember that letter.
Yeah.
That was well after I quit. I quit back in.
I quit last month.
Yeah, I
I'm
quit
done.
back in 2012. I quit, but I was doing it for probably 4 years.
Compare the two statements that were released. She's saying
She called the judge.
she called the judge.
Yeah.
She's saying she appealed. He's saying he called the judge, and he's saying he appealed. Somebody is lying in their official statement,
Right.
and I am far more inclined, based on how press releasey the statement sounds from her, that she's lying.
I think either way, I think it doesn't even matter which one of those
it
statements is
deserves
correct.
further investigation. It needs a
Absolutely.
So when there's a DQ, whenever there's any type of report,
Oh yeah, they
players
deserve.
are required to write out a statement
Yes.
as part of the
Yeah.
report and hand it in to the judge. I'm assuming he wrote out a statement and submitted hers, and she submitted a statement as well.
Yeah.
Those statements need to be fact checked against each other and their official statements to the public. The official statements carry more weight in the penalty. So if they make one statement to the judge and then release another statement to the public, right? And the statement to the public contradicts
Right.
the statement to the judge, you have to assume that the statement they made to the judge is a lie, which requires further action.
Right. I don't think that we're gonna see anything else on this situation. I think that it's going to get buried.
It got buried. Wizards of the Coast didn't even really make enough
They made no
statement on it.
statement. Yeah.
They made no
They're
statement.
not going to say anything about that. They're also not going to say anything that's going to be post positive supporting her either at this point, because it's got enough traction behind the people who are against it and the people who are for it that if they're to stick their nose into it at this point in time, they're just going to look really bad, and they've already done enough stuff to really hurt their following with the community and with the other players and stuff, and with changes that they're implementing and stuff like that. I don't think they want to touch this even with a 1,000-foot pole. They
Right.
Mm-hmm.
don't want to touch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to stay away from it all. I think what they're going to start doing is what we're going to start seeing with Wizards is move towards a more PR neutral thing, and I think they're going to start telling. I have a feeling they're going to start telling quite a few of their people that work for them, either, especially with the political climate going to be continuing in the route it is for the next 4 years and probably for the next decade. with the way
Shut your
things
mouth.
are going, they're going to tell them our social media contract part of our the contract part of the social media section of our contract with you guys has now been updated. You need to sign it immediately. If you don't change these things on your social media platform,
Right.
you're going to be put on like suspension. And then on top of that, if you don't follow to these rules, you're going to get fired. And if you complain about it, you're fired
Right.
because we're a private entity and we don't want to have to deal with it anymore. And if their legal division gets into it, these SGWs could be really mad.
So what?
We're going to see a lot of issues probably in the next, I would say next year. You're going to see a lot of yelling
8 months.
from these. Yeah, 8 months. I agree with you. 8 months to a year. You're going to see a lot of yelling, a lot of complaining, and a lot of reeing from people who are very
Yeah.
socially to the left and almost to the social communist side that are embedded in these companies because now these companies are realizing this is losing us money. We've now watched multiple large, very largely heavily funded movies completely die because of these people.
Correct.
We've watched literally our games start to die because of these people, and our finances are now going to get hurt.
But a
Guess
lot
who's
of
going to be
people in
soaking wet?
Wizards are like that.
Well, yeah, they are, but
That's the
Hasbro's
thing.
not. Hasbro's controlled
Right,
by
Hasbro's
Right.
controlled by people, but money people.
yeah, these are money
Yeah.
people. Hasbro's
Stockholders.
owned by these stockholders like myself, like Rudy, like others. I'll be honest. I have Hasbro stock. I had Hasbro stock. I still have a little bit, but I sold it when it hit its high point about a year ago, and then it plummeted about 2 months later. Only because I could you can see writing on the wall with what's happening at Hasbro, and with the fact that they're starting to hurt due to the fact that they no longer have a localized store for selling. They have to make deals with Target and Walmart, and it's actually hurting them more than it is helping them. So you're going to see these companies be like, we got to do whatever we can to make the mainstream group of people, the silent mainstream, uh, happy. Because if we don't make them happy, we're going to lose billions, and it's the industry that
And keep in mind,
Star Wars is
I
learning this.
yeah, Star Wars definitely, and it's something that the channel's covered a lot. I just wanted to say that, keep in mind, everyone, we're not blaming everyone on the left here. At least I'm not.
No, it's not
I,
everyone.
I am a liberal.
Well,
I'm
put it this
certainly
way.
not a conservative. But you know what? In this day and age, there, there's a lot of liberals making it really hard to stay liberal.
Well, it makes
that's what's going on.
what the true liberal look. It makes what these far lefties are doing is making the true liberals look bad.
The problem is that you
I'm
have a
a
bunch of
fiscally
people-
conservative. I'm a fiscally conservative centrist, a libertarian, and
Yep.
so I have much more liberal looking ideologies. But when it comes down to fiscal spending, I'm very conservative with the fiscal spending. I don't like a lot of spending, and I like small government. But when it comes down to other social things,
Social stuff. And
for me, I'm like, you know
everyone,
what, you guys do you.
everyone on the everyone. It seems there's so many people on extremes right now that it's just
Oh yeah.
it's just killing everyone. It's killing everyone.
Well, look at it the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Late 80s, early 90s is when the really far right went to crazy town. And
Yeah,
then if
definitely.
we had the mainstream internet
And
at that
80s,
point in time,
80s, 90s, yeah, the far right, right.
that's when the left started
crazy.
pushing back, and they're like, leave me alone, we just want to be more libertarian. And we hit that middle point in the mid 90s, in the early 2000s. That's when you saw some of the best science, like one of the gentlemen that's on my server for Minecraft, but he's also on my channel as well. We do Opening Hand, we do a political podcast that
Ooh,
is
I'm in.
deleted on my channel called Conjecture. His name is Raz. Him and I are doing we used to do a series, and we're bringing it back, called Into the Stars. It's all about sci-fi. We're going to talk about sci-fi movies, TV shows, all that. And the
We love
golden age for
sci-fi.
science fiction was 90s. The golden age for science fiction was 1994 through 2000 and about 2006.
Well, I'd say the late 80s. For
I
me,
would
that's
say-
it starts with next gen.
I will say it depends on your definition of golden age, because there was a lot of stuff in the 60s. The cheese factor is so good you
Oh
can't.
yeah, those were great.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, but like
Star
when you're
Trek
looking at
classic.
production value,
You're talking like Star Trek Next Generation actually being amazing. You're talking like Babylon 5 being out of this world. Like that type of sci-fi. Yeah, that stuff was
you're talking
phenomenal.
about the vintage stuff. I'm talking about the stuff that now people that are like me that are in our mid to late 30s and
Mid to late
and
40s,
even a little
but-
bit younger, we want our nostalgia. And in the 40s,
Yes.
we want our nostalgia stuff back. And TNG is one of those things. TNG is the start. That's what blasted us off into that golden age. And the big golden age is, Star Trek SG-1, Stargate SG-1, Stargate Atlantis, even in the later years.
Hey, I
Yeah.
just want to say I enjoyed
Yeah.
Stargate Universe. No one else seemed to like it, but
I like. Here's the thing: SGU is one of those ones that, if at the time that you were watching it, you would not have enjoyed it because it wasn't designed for its time age.
Yeah.
It's aged well.
I would like to say this
It
about
has it.
Stargate Universe. It was done best, and it was called Lost in Space.
Yeah.
that is true. It is.
That's the
Lost in
thing is that
Oh.
it had too much of a feel of Lost in Space.
Space. Hey, Vara, did you have some of those tweets?
I do. Do you guys want me
Yeah.
to read?
Yeah.
I mainly
Oh,
have
that-
one series. Yeah.
Definitely.
I mainly have one
Absolutely.
series of
Back on the
tweets
train,
from
back on
her
the
that I particularly find interesting, and I know you guys do too. To my pro friends, not many of you commented on or retweeted anything I've said about discrimination in Magic the Gathering, and
Okay.
I'm pretty disappointed in
I'm gonna
you.
mute myself for a second. You're laughing.
The men in particular. I am not just talking about rivals/MPL friends. Any of you I personally know who has a known name in MTG. This happens every time there's a social issue in MTG. I see the top layer of pro MTG go quiet. By being a passive observer, you're sending the message that high-level MTG is only about game theory itself and that it's petty to discuss social issues. This is very dangerous, as I often see the tired, no need to bring politics into an argument in MTG. You need to send the message that pro Magic does not involve the politics of combating racism, sexism, transphobia, etc. You can do this just by simply retweeting the right things. It is so easy to do. I hope this tweet makes you uncomfortable, otherwise nothing is going to ever get done. You have a massive platform, so use it. It couldn't be more simple, just tweet more often. Yeah, that's basically what she
I'd
said.
like to comment on that.
Yes, feel free.
Maybe we're all sick and tired of Anita Sarkeesian syndrome.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, don't say that. You're fired.
GG has never ended. GG still goes on. Good GG.
You're all fired, okay? I can't believe
Well,
you
didn't
all
she fire
sexist.
everyone at Feminist Frequency? Didn't everyone get fired?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God!
My white
Remember
light.
Bully Busters?
Oh my God! Don't get me started with that. It was just a blatant, there's just a blatant cash grab to try to get people to buy money, and I have no.
Zombie
respect for that
Unicorn?
company.
That was Zombie Unicorn?
Yeah, and
That
after
was
that,
fun.
her channel's just dead.
Yeah, because
It's
that
just
was her.
dead.
She thought that was her
Interesting.
big break.
Nobody is
And-
going to defend you on something like this when it appears you are clearly in the wrong. Now, crying whenever you lose a match, maybe you shouldn't be playing competitive, and crying and then getting somebody DQ'd because you cried, as much as you may not have intentionally intended to do it, if your end result at the end of each time you lose is to cry and then people flock around you and say, it's
and then
okay,
claim
you'll do better
sexism?
next time, you're
Right.
doing it for the attention.
She's the
clout-
type of
clout
person that needs to
chasing.
be carrying her own portable safe room.
Well, she's right. So some of the words being thrown around here are she's definitely virtue signaling and she's definitely clout chasing. So I
Yeah.
think those are pretty
Yeah.
self-evident right there. I mean, that kind of sums it up for me. Look. To me, what she's done is very damaging to women in esports because let's all be fair, and we can all. I think we can all agree that sexism does happen. That it's
Yes.
not a zero sum.
I do
game
think
on
that
Yeah, it's
that
not
that
like it
happens,
never
and it
happened.
does exist. I would never say that it doesn't. It definitely does exist, but you
Because
You
can't.
have dickheads. I mean, there's dickheads out there. What do
I
you
can
expect?
tell you that I've moderated for a couple YouTube channels, and of course I go as the editor for Dark Titan Enterprises. I go through a lot of the comments, and I see comments that get put on Vara's videos that I would have never seen on any of the other channels that were male. And that is the case, right? But
Yeah.
but you have to be kind of more thick-skinned about it. You
Yeah.
can't go around crying and clout chasing about it.
Oh, you're
Just
signal
ignore
boosting now,
it.
you're saying thick-skinned.
What?
Exactly, I am. I am. But
So-
so I'm not saying these things don't happen, but you shouldn't clout chase and you shouldn't virtual signal when they happen, and that's what she's done. and it's damaging to females. I'll call it the female cause in esports. What she's doing is so damaging. She is so bad for women in esports.
I just want to say. I just want to say that. I just want to say that it's perfectly okay to be emotional. You know, if you were maybe in, you know, the number one game that matters at the event and you're, you know, going for first or second and you lose, yes, you might get emotional, you might cry, some people might get angry. That's perfectly fine.
Top 60, missing out on top 64 would be a reason to get upset.
That is okay. I mean, I myself, if I was ever in a situation like that, I would probably be upset if I lost completely. But you have to present it in a way that something positive can come out of it. So if you're going to go on social media, if you were bullied and say, you know, I was bullied, but I want to bring awareness to it, and you do it in a proper way, that's cool. But calling someone a pile of fucking slime just because they say some of the hate might be warranted is awful, and you're hurting the image for the females that you want so highly to praise, and for the females that you want to be strong and empowered. You're hurting them more than helping them.
Yeah, so one other thing that I wanted to say was, let's talk about personality types and competitive games, right? So she's in one of the most competitive settings for Magic the Gathering, right? There's many different ways you can play Magic. She can play Magic at a table at her store. She can play Magic casually. There's tons of different ways to play Magic. To play competitively at the level that she has to play at an SCG or a Magic Fest, it takes a certain mindset. Okay, I'm not going to use the word thick skin, but it takes a certain mindset, a certain emotional state. And it doesn't sound like she has those. So maybe the competitive arena is not where she should be.
Right.
Am I wrong for saying that? Am I wrong for saying that?
No, you're not wrong, because she can't handle the stress.
Well, you're wrong for many things, but not that.
You're wrong for being the man and being white and saying that.
I just want to... Right.
Did you just assume his gender?
I'm going to virtue signal.
I did.
Wait, I'm going to virtue signal here. I'm a Jew, so I can't say that.
Oh, no.
So you can.
Oh,
you,
no.
Okay, you get a free pass. I mean, don't misgender me. I am an Apache Tech helicopter.
I just... What?
I was asking her for shekels.
I just...
Yeah, I do. I'll get you some tomorrow.
I just want to say that if you are going to a big event, like an open or a classic, whatever it may be, you're going to a big event to be competitive. You can't be... Okay, you're going to a big event, something is bound to happen. Someone's bound to look at you a wrong way. Someone's bound to maybe say something to you, whether you're a male or a female. Harassment happens for both genders. I'm just saying, you're going there to be competitive. You can't be so thin-skinned when you're going to an event, a competitive event.
Yeah.
And most of those jerks that do harass women at those events, I guarantee you that 95% of them are also harassing every male player that they're playing.
Yeah, people are assholes.
I've been harassed at events. Do I go run and tell a judge no? I save my concerns for bigger things, like, hey, you see that guy over there? Yeah, he's sharking a kid. Or, you see that person over there? Yeah, he just stole a binder. Right. You know, there's bigger things to be.
You see that binder swipe over there.
When true assholism happens and someone really is picking on somebody for being a woman, then I will step up. But when it's I feel like I'm being attacked because I'm a woman, yet none of the empirical data points to that, I've got zero sympathy for you.
Yeah.
I will be the biggest asshole you will ever meet when it comes on this topic.
Yeah, and the thing is like, if I see a guy or even a girl, it doesn't matter who you are, if you're sitting there saying, well, you're just bad at this because of what you are, just because you're a girl, and there's people that do talk like that. I mean, we've had guys
there definitely are
that have been doing that.
Yeah.
And you know what my community does when those a-holes come out and actually act like that? We make sure that we make sure that they feel so uncomfortable that they just don't want to come back and play.
Yeah, my store doesn't have this problem because I already have a formula for determining who's the assholes and getting rid of them. Surprisingly, though, it doesn't work on me, but that's probably because I created the formula, so I know the math.
You designed it, so it's kind of like asking yourself. It's kind of like the king asking the guy who's betraying him to search out the betrayer. Yeah.
Oh, you're asking who the betrayer is? It's the person on your left.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, people saying in chat it comes down to the whole argument about the participation trophies, and yeah, kids, millennials, like you mentioned earlier, Rob. You know, the millennials and
Yep.
Generation Z, and although I think Generation Z is probably a little better off than
No,
millennials, to be honest.
they're more fiscally conservative than the prior generation. They're
Right.
actually doing a lot better. Hell,
Yeah.
even my daughter, both of my daughters, one of them is a no, they're both on the cusp. They're both 98 or newer, so they're not millennials. But with
Yeah,
the way
Gen
I
Z.
grew up, I'm very strict, but I'm not a bulldozer parent. I wasn't so strict that they couldn't do stuff, but I was strict enough to not let them do the stuff that would get them in jail.
Exactly.
I
Well,
mean,
that's
fair enough.
pretty good parenting
Yeah.
strategy. It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out that the whole idea of, you know, there's no winner's trophy. There's the spirit award that one person gets, and then there's the participation trophy.
Right.
You
everyone
heard,
else
you heard,
gets.
you heard how it
That's
works now,
teaching
right?
a bad lesson. You have to have winners and losers. You know, you have to
You
have
heard how
winners
this
and
works
losers.
now, right? The winner doesn't get the trophy. Everyone else does.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
the way
okay.
sports work.
Yeah,
now.
that's
winner-
how.
the
It's all
Oh,
winner-
about participation, man.
Because
And
if
the winner
you
gets
win,
shot.
you're a toxically masculine, racist, bigoted jerk.
Unless
Yeah.
you're in a kickboxing
Wait,
ring.
you're the winner? Oh, you're a guy?
If the
You're white?
oh
Oh, F
geez,
you.
you're banned from whatever
Unless-
you're doing.
Unless you're in a kickboxing ring, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No comment.
and I'm not saying that exactly. Then you can.
Oh
Let's do
shit.
kickboxing ring. I'm not saying that things like, you know, trying to get tournaments and player bases more diverse are bad, and I don't think any of us are saying that it's bad. No, it's good. Diversity is good. But let's
Yes.
do it in the right way. Let's do it in the right way, organically, not forced, and without pushing anyone else out. And that's not what's going on.
Right.
I can't stand inclusivity through exclusivity.
It doesn't work.
The theory that
It's
it's
not
okay
actually
to push
inclusivity.
some people away because they're so bad. No, because then you give them no room whatsoever to learn from their mistakes and become a
Yes.
better person.
Right.
You can't excise people from from society, because at the end of the day, when you excise somebody from society, they have nothing holding them back from becoming a worse person.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
So I'm willing to give forgiveness. Like, tomorrow, both people came out and go, maybe we both should have re-rolled. Like, if she had rolled the die, it just took the die roll, but called judge and said, hey, in the future, watch this guy's die rolling. It just doesn't seem right to me.
Right.
And they could
Yeah.
have sparked a silent investigation. So hypothetically, if this guy was actually cheating at the die rolls, he's gone back underground now. And he's going to be underground for quite some time. The only way to sniff him out now is weaponized autism of the internet to see if there's any footage of him and seeing if he has a manipulative way of rolling.
I just want to say that from what we've seen, because there are people online that have tried to go back through like his records and like online, like see events that he's been to. There's never been any situation of him being called out for cheating. He's never been disqualified from anything else. He's never had a problem. His track record in professional Magic is completely clean. He's never been caught cheating, caught, stealing. He's never been caught, messing with dice rolls. He's never had a history of anything that would make it seem like, oh, he's a little bit shady.
That's the other thing that bothers me with her thing is she's treating it like she's some type of pro level Magic player, and this was a professional level event. This was a competitive level. It was not pro level. The reason why the pros are not saying anything to you because you are not part of the group. No offense, they have every right to treat you that way, and even Autumn Burchett is not going to say anything about this.
Right.
You know why? Because they are actually high level professionals, even though I think she's a terrible player and misses a lot of triggers.
But it's still the fact that they're considered a pro level player.
They're a pro level player. They
Right.
actually play for high level money. You play
Right.
for shit and dollars.
Right.
You
All
play
I'm
for an
gonna
extra
say
box.
is the difference between a pro player and an average player is the number of mistakes they make per game. A pro player makes one mistake in 10 games. The average player makes 10 mistakes in one game. The pro players have learned to utilize those mistakes in their favor.
Right.
You can make one mistake in 10 games, but if you haven't realized when your opponent's made a mistake, you're never going to checkmate them. That's why the pros are the pros. Stop bitching about all of this stuff and start studying human nature, and you'll be able to start picking up people's tells the look on their face when they realize that they just screwed up and hope you haven't noticed it.
Well,
I
there's
win
somebody-
more games from my opponent's mistakes than I do from my skill level. But I guess that comes
Yeah.
to my skill level of being able to read people.
Right.
there's a lot of people out there, that believe, and we've talked about it a ton of times about the amount of cheating that goes on at the pro level and how there's people out there that believe every pro is cheating. But I just want to throw out the whole thing with Arena because we have the Magic Championship coming up this weekend, and it's no longer paper; it's on Arena, right?
It's on Arena.
So
That's determined randomly.
yeah,
Well, quote randomly.
There's no random on Arena, but that's okay.
There's nothing randomness in that game, because if they actually truly wrote that program to be random for determining first and seconds, it would not be as consistent as it is.
Right.
I mean, hell, look at the booster packs that get cracked on digital. If
Oh
it was
my
true
gosh.
random, you wouldn't be able to predict your card orders. I mean, hell, I was sitting in there on one of the streams. I'm not going to name the person, but they were able to adequately predict every single common and uncommon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Specifically,
pretty
the
bad.
uncommon matter the most.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yep.
So from pack one,
Especially in
pick one.
draft.
Yeah, in draft, they were able from pack one, pick one, focusing exclusively on the uncommons to build an unbeatable 4-0 deck.
Yeah. It's because they knew what was coming, what wasn't going to come, and that's the thing is every single time a new set comes out on Arena, people play enough of the drafts they can figure out exactly what the uncommon skewing is, and then they know exactly what to
You
build.
don't even
and how
have to do it from drafting. That's the thing is all these people that
Just
do
open
the
a couple
50 for 50.
Yeah.
You open
Yeah.
one pack at a time. If you open up like one pack at a time, and you write down the order of the cards, and you make a spreadsheet of it.
Yeah.
Yep, and you got it.
if it does. So what do you? So at the end of all this, like, what type of fallout do? Because I think this is pretty big. A lot of people are talking about it.
want to talk about the fallout.
Yeah, like
I
what?
think there's only going to be social fallout. That's it.
No, I think you're wrong on this one, King. It's
Yeah.
going to be economical on a professional level. A few years back, when Chicago had the nuclear meltdown of their OS and of their tournament software,
Oh,
it bled
yeah.
over to several PTQs after, to the point of the PTQ the following weekend only brought in 600 people when it was anticipated to bring in 14 to 18. Okay.
Yeah.
When the word gets out to the pro players that this is starting to become prevalent again, they're just not going to show up.
Right.
And the fact that it was a
They
Star,
just don't want to deal with it.
but it's a Star City event makes it even more prominent because Star City gets more camera time than any other organizer, including Channel Fireball, who's hosting their Magic Fest.
But that's
Right.
because Star City Games did. I have to give them credit. They did something right. They decided to break from the pact and say, "F you, WotC, for telling us how to do things. We're going to do it on our own and do it our own way, and even have our own ban list."
Right.
And they do things all on their own. They have always done it on their own, and I think that's the main reason why WotC always had an issue with them. I worked with Star City Games for quite a few large end tournaments. A lot of their larger,
I know Peter.
the pro level tournaments, yeah, and they run things way differently, and they're very exclusive with everything that they do too. But they make it feel they make the environment there feel much different compared to like if you go to a Magic Fest, which used to be Grand Prix. I've judged at Grand Prix. You know, my favorite place to judge at was actually Gen Con. I judged at Gen Con for 4 years straight. I love judging in Gen Con.
Do you know what my
because
favorite
put me
place
up
to
in
judge
places.
was?
Huh?
Do you know what my favorite place to judge was?
Which one?
PAX East.
PAX East was fun from what I've heard. That was a lot of fun from what I've heard.
I was judging in 2014 there, and I think
Oh,
2013
nice.
as well.
I think 2013 was the last. Yeah, 2013 was my last year at Gen Con. That was the last year, or 2013 or 2014. I can't remember. That was my last. It was one of those 2 years when I actually ended up quitting, and that was when I was going to be a level 2, and I was actually scheduled or slated to start taking my. I was going to slate to take my L2 exam at Gen Con at the end of it, and at the end of Gen Con, I would also sit down with the board and do my interview.
Yep.
And I was told, because I got a really nice. I had some really cool roommates. I'm not going to name names, but there's some really. One of them, I don't even know if he judged anymore, but the other one, he was a high level judge. Just turned to L3. He's a really cool dude, and probably one of my best mentors that I ever had too.
We could talk about it off stream, and I'll tell you if
Yeah,
he's
we'll
still
talk
on the program because I know all the judges in the program.
He's still in the program. I'm pretty sure he is, but the other one I don't think he is. I think he moved on to do some other things. But this judge basically took me aside. We actually quite literally, he took me out to lunch, sat me down at lunch. We were just sitting there talking about things, and he knew what my background is. He knew that I have a conservative background, and I'm Christian, and he knew those things about me. And because we're friends, we're pretty open
Yep.
about those things. And he looked at me and he said, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be very, very honest with you and very upfront. You're not going to get level 2. And I'm like, well, why am I like, what do I need to work hard? And he's like, it's not because you're not working hard. He's like, dude, you're working hard and you're learning everything. You're doing all that stuff right.
Right.
He's like, it's because of you are a white male that comes from a middle class, more privileged family. He's like, on top of that, you're in a more privileged area of the United States. He's like, and he's like, you also have a conservative background, a Christian conservative background. He's like, you're not going to get anywhere. He's like, now if you're to ultimately say that, okay, instead of being a conservative Christian, I'm a conservative Jew. He's like, they might change their mind, but he's like, at this point in time, you're not going to go anywhere. He's like, I'll be honest with you. At which time, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm
we've
done
talked
with
about this. Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but me and Rob have talked about this so much on Titans Tables. Like, it's great that you're bringing it up again. I mean, I experienced so many problems with getting level 2s through my stores because I was having trouble getting level 2s created. And I knew level 3 judges, and they weren't making my level 2s. There would be so much drama.
They were hogging the resource for themselves.
Yeah.
They wanted to do it on their own and figure it out on their stuff.
They
wanted it to be a full-time job.
And it's an unfortunate thing. Yeah, no, that's it's okay, Red Dragon. It's perfectly okay that happens because that's the way the judge program is.
But it's not okay that it happens because it shouldn't happen that way.
It shouldn't. But this is the reason why for the last 5 years I've been sitting down in the back and rewriting a brand new judge program for myself and things that I think would be a much better way and a better way of handling it.
King, have you heard the echo chamber secular firing squad theory? So basically, it's do you subscribe to this philosophy? Yes, continue. No, you're out. And it just keeps going around, and it keeps feeding back in on itself until there's nobody left in the middle except for the person who started it.
That's about what the judge program is. Yeah. And the fact that they developed this new system where you have to pay money per year, that's just another way to get people who couldn't afford to be out. It's another way to be able to control people because now that it's a full-on private organization, not managed or run by WotC, but run by a private organization that's people who are in the WotC know-how. It's just going to allow for even more nepotism. And
no, it's worse because it's not a private it's a private company that's owned by a game store. It's not its own private entity, which makes it even worse. You gave all the power to a specific game store. Now that game store can leverage their judging program and tell somebody, if you judge at a specific game store, we're going to kick you out of the program.
Right.
Yep.
Which means now they can monopolize the entire system. And even if people say that it's not going to happen, when given the opportunity to abuse power, people will take it if there are not enough safeguards in place to prevent the abuse of said power.
Yeah, and that's why I've been working on developing my own tournament system and developing my own tournament running system, as well as trying to develop a new judge program that's actually something that's fully neutral and runs within that tournament organization system that can be sold out to the stores. So kind of like what Star City Games does. I actually like the idea.
With Star City, though, I know they're a separate tournament.
They do it right,
tournament, but they're using the judge program.
They are using the judge program only because they want to be able to have their stuff to be WotC certified.
But here's something more important. They set their own guidelines for their judges, and they're too big to be cut out of the program.
Yeah.
There's a difference between like my store where I quit the judge program when it went to a pyramid scheme, pay your way to the top.
Oh yeah, that's all it is now.
And I got so much slack and was called a virtue signaler and everything else just because I didn't see the original thread 2 months ago. And then I had like 3 or 4 really, really good friends that are kind of on the SJW side, but they're understanding. They know me as a person, and they know that I don't say this shit lightly. And they offered to pay for me and let me keep my promos, as opposed to what they were doing for other people where they would pay for them to stay judges and they got the promos.
Right.
And I looked at them and I said, that would be amazing, but I can't take advantage of you like that.
Yeah.
I won't take advantage of someone like that. Oh yeah, cool. So I get my cake and eat it too, and you're out $100 a year. No, I'm not going to do that.
No.
And they were like, and their response was respect. That was literally the like several of them were like respect, and it's because they know that as much as I am a hard ass, I'm also one of the most loyal people on the planet. And for me to turn my back on something, it has to be heavily corrupted.
Yeah, and that's the judge program in a nutshell now.
Right.
Even back in 2010 or 2011 through 2014 when I was judging, it was like that. It was getting
Right.
worse. It was just getting worse. You could see it. The writing on the wall was there. I
Right.
was watching them. There's one weekend where I went to an event and I watched them certify 5 level 2s. And all those level 2s are people that I helped. They're people that I helped bring in,
Mhm.
or I helped with earning them towards. I worked with them to get them towards their level 2. One of them was a tournament organizer, not tournament organizer, a head judge that I brought in for a tournament that I organized for an LGS, and that judge completely screwed the store over on their tournament winnings because we didn't have enough people, and we said in the advertisement that the winnings would be adjusted lower for the less turnout. And
Right.
because of that, she guaranteed that everyone would be getting exactly what was advertised on there. She promised everyone that in her head judge report when
Yeah.
she started the tournament. When I told her, no, here's what we're going to give to you, I need you to read this off. And that person decided to go ahead and do her own thing. And then the excuse was, I'll do my own thing however I want to. You guys will just have to hold
But
to
that's
it.
like, what is it? That's it's not liable. It's not. But what is that? It has to be something. She can't.
No, you're
No,
liable.
she
You're
actually,
liable.
Is it
she's
liable?
so she's actually at that point in time, whatever the overage was, you could have docked her pay for the day on.
Yeah, she
Right.
didn't get anything. She didn't get anything. She was supposed to get paid 2 boxes plus $50 for the day and gas. We just paid for her food, so you don't get anything else. And she's, when that person was mad, then we were like, well, that you costed us that much money.
Yeah. Right.
You costed us $400 on the tournament. Sorry, but we can't. I can't run. You can't run a business.
You did not live up to our expectation and do what we said. Now, if you had made an announcement to the players, like, so here's one of the big things is a lot of like I was one of those stores where I would guarantee my payout regardless, and if I had a lower draw, I just ate it. But then I had judges that would go out of their way to bring the most heaviest hitting people to the store,
Right.
and then it started becoming a situation where these judges were splitting prizes with the players they were bringing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, because it was part of. Oh, here,
That's
hey,
dirty.
you split prizes with me because I drove you.
Let me tell
Really
you what
big
I used to tell. So, I was running PTQs back when before they went to the PPTQ system.
Yep.
When they had the PTQs at the store level, and stores could actually get them.
I
Unlike now.
qualified for those, and then they canceled it a month later.
That sucks. So I ran like 5 of them for a store in Massachusetts that I was working for. And one of the things as the TO, as the tournament organizer for those events, one of the things I as a TO told my judges is, don't make any stupid decisions, don't make any stupid or wrong rulings.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, yeah, I'm not going to overturn you because I'm not going to do that as a TO. But let me tell you, the first stupid decision or the ruling that you make will be the last because you're going to be fired. You're going to be walking out that door. So I'm not going to overturn your decision, but your next thing you're going to be doing is leaving.
That's the one thing I do have to say I liked with Star City Games is you had to sign a contract when you started. You had to fill out tax paper because you had to pay taxes on your stuff.
Mhm.
They made,
You had to
because
give
you
them your
only
real
got paid,
name.
you got paid money. You had to give them your real information, your real name, your
Right.
social security number, and they gave you a tax paper at the end of the event showing you how much you got paid out as well because you weren't allowed to take it in store earnings or if you did, you still had to pay taxes on it. It didn't matter. But they paid you more if you took cash. You actually got more to take cash from them and let them hit you with the taxes thing. Like I liked doing Star City game events because I got paid like $150, $200 event.
And you know why their philosophy behind that was, and I know why the decision was made? Because paying you as an independent contractor becomes a cost if they give you cash and not
and they
trade.
get tax break.
They get a tax write-off on it, and the tax write-off is actually a significant portion because they can show that the cost of the judges goes against the amount, and they could show a loss for the event, not realizing they're making all the money off the buying at the booth.
Yeah,
I think it's a good business
smart.
plan on their part. Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you,
smart business.
when I was a TO, I still am, and when I was a judge, and I ran events, I kind of had the respect from the judge community because a lot of them were my friends, and like I always told my judges judging for me that if you have to disqualify a player, I am to be notified before the DQ happens. I am to be brought into the loop on it. If you have to make any significant penalty that will upset somebody in my store, I am going to have your back, but I need to know ahead of time so I have an exit strategy so that the player doesn't bomb my store, review bomb my store in the community, and destroy my reputation.
Or
Right.
even in some cases get so angry that they come back like a week later and they break the windows in your store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
they
Look-
come in and they send some friends with them and they come back to your events and they steal stuff from players like 2 weeks later. I know that happened in a couple stores. And there's a couple stores that were in Michigan and Ohio that had that happen with events where the players
Happened
were
up
mad
here.
with what happened to them.
Yeah.
It's not uncommon. People are there's just douchebags out there.
Yeah.
You can't stop them from being an a-hole.
Right.
And
and
I
getting
mean,
butthurt.
as the TO, yeah, you're not going to go in there and even if it's a small event, you're not going to go in there and overturn the head judge's decision. But
Mhm.
at the same time, players do ultimately they can appeal to the head judge, and if they don't like what the head judge says, they can appeal to the TO. I think it's more symbolic because
I
the
can
TO is
actually,
not gonna,
that's actually something you may not realize is as the TO, I can overrule the head judge.
You can.
it doesn't.
You have the right to.
No. But here's how
I
you
never did.
overrule it. Here's how you have to overrule them. You dismiss them from the tournament and instate a new head judge.
Yep.
Right.
Okay,
But
there you
I
go.
would never
That works.
do that because there are massive ramifications for that. It could invalidate your tournament.
There was only one time that I actually watched that happen at an event, and that was because the head judge was a complete dickhead.
Yep.
And it actually was so bad that they removed his L2,
Oof.
his L2 status 2 weeks later, because he had so many complaints from other stores and stuff, and that was just like basically the head on the head on the pimple right there.
Right.
That's crazy. I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, I've
I was part of that investigation. It was bad.
I would threaten to fire people, but never actually did it. Never.
Oh, it
Um,
was bad enough where that judge was actually like physically abusing people and everything.
Ugh.
I
And
guess I could judge a character. I've been able to pull people in. I've had a real good judge of judges, and I've pulled really good people into my organization. But I had a major divide when one of them accused one of my friends as signal boosting, and he's the kindest, gentlest person you will ever meet in the world. All because they had a political disagreement that the person spent a year and a half dragging out of this other
Ugh.
person and then throwing them under the bus to the point where I had to go out of state to get the person tested as a judge.
Yeah.
Wow. And the amount that happens in the judge program over the last
Ugh.
5-6 years is crazy. You have to
Did
go
there-
having to go to different regions
So-
to get tested because the person that does the testing in a certain region just doesn't like them or doesn't
Right.
like their political view
Right.
or doesn't
Let's-
like
Oh,
their
I
religion.
had that
Let's get
happen
back
all
to
the
the
time.
whole like the basis of this, the cancer that's in the judge program
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a very inclusivity through exclusivity type of cancer. If you're not part of their bubble,
If you're not part of the club.
you're not part of the club, you're out of the club. And if you're not in it, or even worse, they'll do everything they can within their power and reputation to remove your store from their chain.
Right.
Yeah,
And
they'll just
that's-
ignore you, throw you aside.
I mean,
And
hell, look at that
that's
store
what
in New York. You heard about the tech flag, right?
What
yes.
was that again?
This was a store, a store of fire and ice.
Yes.
Right.
Oh yeah, the store of Fire and Dice.
Yep. They had their WPN removed because there was a
There's
Keck
a
flag
Keck
hung
flag.
above on the wall in the back corner above the door to the bathroom.
Yep.
That
Yeah, I
didn't
saw
belong
that.
to
The
them, by
ordering
the way.
covered that back when he was.
And there was
doing,
no ands, ifs, or buts about it. You're out of the club because some pro player snapped a picture of it, and rather than bring it to your attention and
He
complaining,
was no pro player. That was no pro player that snapped that. That was a friend of a pro player.
Yeah.
close enough. I mean, they're all in the same ballpark.
And the thing what made it big was the fact that you had Saffron Olive go on about it, and he's no pro
Yeah.
player.
No,
He's just-
Saffron Olive was the asshole that started it all.
Oh yeah, he's the complete dickhead that
He
started the whole
boosted
thing.
it. Yeah, he boosted it.
He
But-
signal boosted that crap, and he's never been to the store, and he's a has-been hack on YouTube that does deck techs from only MTG Goldfish because he's part owner of it,
Yeah, it's
And
kind of like the
it's
show
not
who
even his
shows
original
Star Kingdom
information.
on the biggest.
So they, right, and it wasn't
Yeah.
it wasn't even the store's flag.
Right.
But okay, so I think
Holy crap.
we are
That was
going up
a. Hold
against
on.
time.
There's a notification. Hold on. Thank you. Oh, I don't know if it did pop up. Thank you so much, Doa, for the $20 donation. I do very much so appreciate it. No
Ooh.
message, unfortunately, but thank you for the donation.
Yeah, so we're
I
kind of
I
going
have
up
one real
against
quick thing
time.
about donations.
What?
Vara is too proud to beg, but I'm going to put it out there. Vara has gotten a press pass to PAX East.
Damn.
I
She
haven't even
really
announced
wants
it yet.
Hold on. Let me get through this.
Okay.
She really wants to cover PAX East, but they won't give her a cameraman badge or something for an assistant to go around and carry her equipment for her.
I'm in. I got
Damn.
cameras. I got shit.
You're calling me
So
out.
she could use some assistance with trying to pay for a
Oh,
4-day
shit.
so she can cover 4 days of PAX for people.
Oh.
Now, Vara is not the kind of person, in fact, she's asked me not to say anything, which means
Yeah.
I am going to say something.
Fucking asshole. Jeez.
You're welcome.
Put me on blast or anything. Jeez.
She
It's
gets
not
sick with
blast.
Menchie's right now. She needs the monies.
I'm gonna toss a little money towards you later in cash when I see you tomorrow to help pay for the ticket. I'd like to see you there all 4 days. It's gonna be a fun experience. The panels are amazing, and it would be nice to get her an assistant badge for 4 days, which is sitting around 220 right now.
That ain't bad though. That's not bad.
It's really not. It's an amazing convention, and her having the press pass is going to get her into the rooms with her assistant a lot easier.
Vera, did you put in to try to get into Gen Con for a press pass?
I have not. I had only
to.
done PAX East because I live like 30 minutes away.
You need to apply
I am
for Gen
very
Con, 'cause I would
close
meet
to
you for that.
the Boston Center. That's why I'd put in. And I had actually only put in for a press pass maybe 3 or 4 days before they closed it off.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
You should put in for Gen Con to go, because if you do, I'd meet you down there and help you out. Because
She wasn't going to actually put in for the pass, and I said, no, you have to do this.
Yeah.
And it'd be really good exposure for her site to be able to put up coverage of all the stuff for her and her Dark Titans. So if y'all can help her, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you can't, it's understandable. But I got something for you tomorrow, Vara. Wow, that sounded
I
so
do
dirty.
appreciate it. I had not announced yet that I had gotten a press pass or anything, and I was not going to say anything because I think that you guys know at this point that I'm not someone that's going to ask for funds. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's very few times where I do ask for donations specifically for a reason. Usually it's for like new games or whatnot. But I do appreciate you shilling for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I am Jewish.
Oh, great. Here we go. Dark Titan Enterprises is... What is it going to be now? What is it going to be now?
Hey, I used the fact that I'm Jewish as a virtual signal earlier, so Rob should be able to do it too.
I'm doing something wrong because I'm poor.
See, I can't do anything. I'm a privileged white male who's Christian. So,
oh, disgusting. Cis white men. Blech. Disgusting.
Well, if it's any consolation, I'm a German Jew, so I'm a self-hater.
Yeah, I'm part German and part French, so unfortunately, not only am I a horrible person and through history, I'm also a horrible Frenchie who likes to give up and surrender to everything. So
you're bad. All right, we are up against
win a game of Magic.
Yes, we are. Yes, so I think that a good way to end off the live stream. Yes.
I wanted to mention that I just think maybe, I don't know if you have a different idea, we could just kind of give maybe our final thoughts on either what we think of what she did or how what she did is going to affect gaming or esports in general, and just kind of end it off that way maybe. Because, I mean, I personally just wanted to say I think what she did is so damaging because what it's going to do is it's going to show female gamers or female content creators that are looking for an edge or a way to boost themselves, like an easy way to boost themselves by basically creating a situation that they can virtual signal on, which will give them attention.
Right.
And I think that's very, very bad for the long-term health of females in esports.
Right.
I'm going to say that when given the opportunity to take advantage of the situation, regardless of gender, people are going to take advantage of the situation. This just gave females a free pass at taking advantage of the situation. When am I going to get my free pass?
Never. Never.
When are you gonna get your feedback? Never.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
Never.
I am now a cis female.
You are not privileged enough.
I'm an
Wait.
Apache attack helicopter
Oh
who
no.
has gone
I'm
through.
now a gay female. That's it.
I've gone through a relocation from being a battle.
A relocation.
I flew the sound. I flew
God, that's
interstate,
good.
and now I'm no longer an Apache helicopter. I've now changed to a battleship.
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare I? It's it's a disgrace to my Apache helicopter kind. Never mind. You know what? I'm just gonna be Starscream. Yelly, screeching, and annoying. But no, my final thing is on this is, when it comes down, all it takes is one person like her to screech and holler and scream about something in a way that makes nothing but everything. It makes everything uncomfortable for everyone else. And it's those types of people that really need, in my opinion, to weed themselves out of the community, because they were the ones who talk about the toxicity. Ultimately, they're the ones brewing the toxicity.
Thanks for saying that real quick, because that gets back to the whole secular system. We want more inclusivity. You must include us in your space.
But you can't be part of it.
We love this space. You must bend to us. You don't like it, you can leave our space. Go to the next space. They show up. We want more inclusivity. You must include us in your space. That is the secular firing squad of self-exclusion.
Well, that's also the far left religious right. That's the way they think and believe. They demand inclusivity at the cost of exclusivity of all others.
Right.
And unless you're willing to,
it's a religion now.
It's unless you're willing to bow at the altar of intersectionality, and then bow at the altar of basically litmus testing yourself all the time, you're going to be a nobody, or you're going to be attacked no matter what, or you're going to be hit by cancel culture in some manner or way.
Right.
And that's just to me, that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
It's very unfortunate, and I really do feel that if we wanted to see a better MTG community, the way you be accepting is be kind of like what's his name, the Hawaiian pro player who was banned.
Oh geez, what's his name?
Much love, fam. I mean, that's the thing, is like, he's really, that's how you be inclusive. You just be nice to people. You just be nice.
Right.
And open and say, you know what, I'm human, I make mistakes.
Travis Wu.
Travis Wu. What the sad thing is, I was a patron of his, and that's the sad thing. The thing is, Travis has got a good idea on things. It's like, you just accept things as they are, and you grow from it, and you grow from your mistakes. Right. However, these people don't want that. They want to make sure that you sit there and waller and suffer and feel like you're a horrible human being, because that's the only thing that makes them feel better.
Right. The truth is, it's people that were bullied growing up, and now they have the power to bully others, and bullying breeds bigger bullies.
Usually the ones that were bullied, once they're put in the power, they become some of the biggest
abusers.
The biggest abusers, and on top of that, they also are the most authoritarian. Because they just don't want it to happen to them, because they're afraid of it.
I got my ass kicked in school, man. I had my desk flipped on me. I was pushed down a flight of stairs, to the point of extremely physical bullying. And I turned out as a semi-okay person. In fact, I give people an actual safe place to hang out. I don't call it a safe space. I don't follow the philosophies. I just give people a general nice place to hang out. And you know what? I think it's just the difference between the current generation and that generation, because the current generation thinks having the sexted photos that you sent to somebody because you thought it was sexually liberating posted online is bullying. And it's like, no, it's stupidity.
Did you grow up with parents that just let you have whatever the fuck you wanted in the 90s?
Actually, I had a mother and no father, and my mother was continuously being evicted. In fact, the longest place I ever lived in a single location was probably 3.5 years. And
so you're one of those people who learned how to make something.
I was very poor.
Yeah, you
I
understand
know what
the
government
value of a
cheese
dollar.
tastes like.
Yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
Tom. They think words are violence, and that's the problem.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
words are violence. That's the problem. And on top of that, a lot of these are millennials that had mom and dad in the '90s that were boomer parents that just want to give their kids whatever they have. They would soak their whole retirement fund into giving them whatever they wanted. I came from that family. I came from that. I learned what it was like to be given basically college, go to college and just fail out because you didn't actually want to go. And then parents basically pay that off for you because they felt guilty that they forced you into it. And only to have a grandmother who was like, you shouldn't be going to college, and convinced me of that before she died. And I
I've
still went to
convinced my
college for
kids at this
everything.
point not to go, except my youngest daughter is going, but she's not going to
Yeah,
traditional college. She's going to veterinarian college.
which is smart. It's more trade based. I
Yeah,
always
I'm
been a big
pushing
fan of that.
trades. She loves animals. She wants to learn how to be a vet tech.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see. I come from the tech world, and this is one of the things I even like. In the tech world, certifications are key. There's companies that still ask for you to have a degree, and I can tell you this much: those companies really don't care about their technology. They only care about the degree. The companies that actually care about the technology are the ones that are like, "Hey, are you certified? Yes. Are you certified C plus? Like, are you certified A plus certified through CompTIA? Yes. Okay, cool. They kind of want that more. Personally, I come from the world that CompTIA is a waste of money.
Most of the coding companies that want coders I know around here don't care about your certifications. They sit you down, they give you a piece of code, they say you've got 2 hours, solve it.
Yeah, write me code line.
All right, you guys, we are coming up on 9 o'clock
It's
almost,
only
so
nine. It's only 8:45.
we go an hour and a half, my friends.
I know, but we
Okay,
Yeah,
started
fine.
5
yeah,
to
yeah.
play.
All right,
This
you
is my first
guys.
week. You gotta go
So,
extra long.
is there anything else that you guys wanted to add into the topic of females in esports?
I
I've got
think
Just let them shell their
nope.
channel stories.
Oh
I
yeah,
will
yeah. We'll
I
do
will
that in
say
just a
one
second.
really quick thing about females in esports. They will join if they want to play, not because somebody said they can't.
Fair enough. Fair
agreed.
enough. All
Yeah.
right, so I think that it is self-shilling time. Asfera, where can we find you?
Currently, I'm at Command Zone Games in Norwood, Massachusetts, looking for a new spot. We'll probably have my new lease tomorrow. I'll know more details then. You can find me on Facebook through the Command Zone Games Facebook page. You can also find me through my channel, which I think has 3 subscribers. I don't know. I don't really look at that type of stuff. Um,
Sounds pretty
that
good.
being that being said, I do plan on streaming Minecraft and pushing that forward for once my stress level at the store has changed. So look forward to seeing me doing some really insane redstone builds that can destroy servers and warp the fabric of space-time.
I dare you
Sounds
to
great.
come on to join my Patreon and jump on my server.
I am a redstone junkie, and I find very few people. This is one point where I'm an egotistical asshole. There's nothing I can't build, and if I can't build it, I will figure out how to build it.
Oh, I mean,
Damn.
and the thing is on YouTube. It's easy to find ways to build it and get ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, if you follow Ilmango for redstone, you've already got yourself some good ideas.
I mean, I follow Ilmango, I follow Tango Tech, I follow Mumbo Jumbo, I follow Etho Labs. I mean, these are all people bet when they started. Like Etho was the first person I ever started when the Redstone came out, and he was like this, that, and the other, and I was like, wow. And then I made a 27-door Redstone repeating machine that shattered the server. It corrupted the save file.
Dude,
Jeez.
Tango Attack, I actually for Tango, because he does a lot of code writing, he wrote his own his
Villager
own
mod.
the villager mod.
I know.
Uh,
I play it. It's one of my favorite mods.
I actually was one of the testing crew for that. I
I
actually
I've
worked on
broken it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful
It is.
mod. I love that mod. I was actually on the Patreon server. I was on one of his I was one of his top tier patrons. I was actually part of the development team, like not development, but the full on
Yep.
testing team for that. It was amazing. Probably the best fun I've had doing a Minecraft mod. That's actually what got me into modding.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, King's Knight, would you like to shill your channel and your content? Feel free, my friend.
Certainly would love to. Let me go ahead and youtube.com. So I actually have a YouTube channel playing Discord. I'll throw that right here. So playing Discord, I do some Minecraft videos on there. I'm actually working in a Minecraft RAD series, which is Roguelike Adventures and Dungeons. It's actually a server that I hand built on my own, and I have personalities on there such as Cinder Shadow Gaming and others. Myself, Cinder Shadow Gaming, Mr. Habanero, and then the Titans here are that are streaming with us today. Vera and you guys are all welcome to join the server as well to do live streaming. I'll be caught after this on twitch.tv/playing Discord as well, doing some Minecraft red playing, and I actually will be before that playing some. It's time for your regularly sponsored ad coming from Raid Shadow Legends. I'll be playing a little bit of that going through it. Because I've been playing Raid Shadow Legends since Count and Dankula started shilling for them, and
Oh, nice.
I got in when I got the really good shit.
Nice.
So I got some. Cool
Oh, dude, you got the good shit.
I got some of the good shit.
I'm in a green state, man. Send that stuff over.
Yeah. Hey, it's legal here in Michigan. It's legal. I can even grow it in my basement if I wanted to.
Wow.
Next thing I know, next thing you know,
You can grow it in Massachusetts too.
Yep.
Yeah,
All right.
Oh, there's Daryl. He's part of Aestheticraft, part of my server.
Oh, yes,
Huh?
that's right. That's right.
what was that?
Oh, I was gonna say Daryl's in chat. He's part of Aestheticraft, and he hasn't been playing lately. But yeah, we're back to playing again faster.
Nice.
All right.
Oh, and I also have I also do have a Patreon, which is basically patreon.com playing Discord as well. But if you want to play on a vanilla server that's based off of the Hermitcraft series, I actually run a Hermitcraft server that's on there, just not under the same map.
Nice.
I run under the same map for my dedicated server.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. I liked that map, but I just wanted to do something different. And I'll be reloading to 1.16 here soon, as once that's over, because that just blew my mind once I saw what they've been doing with that.
Nice. All right. Well, thank you all for joining tonight. Thank you all in chat for hanging out for the live stream. I do very much so appreciate it. The next live stream will be on Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I will be doing a playthrough of Super Metroid on the channel, which will be very fun. I'm very so much looking forward to it. If you guys are not already part of our Discord, please make sure to join it. I will link it in the chat. Also join Asfara's Discord if you so wish
That's
to.
Two Man's Own Games one.
Yes.
Oh, here, I'll throw mine in
Oh,
there.
and I got a Switch finally. I'm part of the Switch Master Race.
Nice. Switches are fantastic. Switches are fantastic.
All right. Good night, everyone.
All right.
Oh,
yes.
here, I'll throw my.
Yes. Feel free to throw your link in chat.
There's my
Everyone,
Discord link. You guys
join
are welcome to
everyone's
join it all.
Discords. There are a lot of Discords.
Yeah.
Please join them all.
Oh yeah.
All
Good
right,
seeing
you
y'all.
guys. Thank you so much for stopping by for the live stream tonight. I do very much so appreciate it. And have a fantastic night, everybody in chat.
Yeah. Vera, do you